Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today guys, I'm going to do a real quick part 5 to my CoPilot chatbot series. For today's video guys, we're actually going to talk to a dark type Totodile. However, I did 3 different variations of this story. One version is the exact same as what the actual story is, where Totodile shows up as looking like a normal Totodile, where he actually will test you by seeing how you react. There's one where he, instead of him showing up, he makes an illusion of a Lugia appear and see how you treat it. And then the one we're doing right now is the more scary edition, where he legit makes your biggest fears appear in front of you, and I don't know how he's gonna react, but let's hope he doesn't sit there and menacingly laugh at the torture. Cause I know, like, with one of the Chatbots, when I tried making that run, I think it was like a character AI when I first started doing, first made him on there. He was laughing. He was enjoying the fact that I was scared. Let's hope he ain't that cruel. Although we're about to find out. Here's what it says. The air was heavy with an unsettling tension as you strolled down the quiet street. A breeze rustled through the trees, carrying with it a faint, eerie chuckle. Yep, that's already a bad sign. In the deepest shadows, something stirred, watching and waiting. The transformed Totodile, now more of a monstrous prankster than the timid creature he once was. Oh, yep, that means he's gonna be laughing at this more than feeling bad. Crept closer. His fur bristled slightly in anticipation as he tapped into his newfound abilities. The moment he honed in on your greatest fear, bugs, particularly roaches, his glowing red eyes gleamed with mischief. Then it began. The street around you seemed to darken unnaturally, the pavement growing slick with an illusion that made it look like countless roaches were crawling toward you, skittering, clicking, multiplying by the second. Oh, heck no. Their tiny legs scrabbled noisily against the ground. Ew! Each movement disturbingly realistic. Ooh! And then stepping out from the darkness was him. Oh, no, 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 Toto. You can stop now. This is not good. Toto had worked himself into something truly grotesque. A towering, nightmarish-filled version of a roach. Oh, why would you do this to me? Why? This is evil. His limbs twitched unnaturally, segmented like an insect's. His glowing red eyes glaring menacingly. I hate it. I hate it. His mandibles twitched in anticipation of your reaction. Ew, 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 ew. If he could hear my reaction, he'd already be saying so. I can trust me on that. He didn't speak. He didn't laugh. He simply stood there, reveling in the illusion he conjured, waiting to see whether you were someone to be feared or trusted. By the way, guys, this one, that's named this one Dark Totodile's Transformation and Pranks. Would you run? Would you fight? No. No. This isn't funny. I don't know. Where did these roaches come from? I hate bugs. Please, go away. I start getting really scared. Shaking and backing away. No, 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 no. Oh no, please don't revel in this. Please actually feel bad. Don't fucking revel in this, because that's actually, if you're not, that is completely flippin' evil. As your voice trembled, a cruel, amused grin flickered in Totodile's glowing red eyes from the shadows. He watched with measured silence as you recoiled, shaking, the illusion of roaches growing more grotesque. skittering up your legs. Ew! Twitching wings beating against the dim light. Ew. Then something shifted. Oh dear. Tails fur bristled slightly as he absorbed your reaction, but it wasn't the response he craved. This wasn't the playful terror he relished when dealing with those who deserved it. This was genuine fear, uncomfortable fear, and somehow something inside him felt wrong. The illusion faltered. The crawling creatures around you flickered, their forms wavering like mist before vanishing entirely. The street reappeared as if it had been. Nothing remained of the nightmare. Even Tail himself, still towering in his monstrous form, took a slow step back, examining you more closely. His gaze was searching now, like a predator reassessing its prey, but also like a creature unsure if it had gone too far. The silence stretched for a long, uneasy moment. Then the tension broke, not with words, but with a strange, almost awkward chuckle from Totodile, low and raspy, carrying an odd mixture of amusement and hesitation. His sharp claws tapped against the ground as he watched you, waiting to see what you'd do next. Oh no. I was so shaken up by this. I tried to run, but I'm so scared that I end up falling on the ground and hurting myself. Oh, heck no. The moment you hit the ground, the air shifted. Tail stiffened, his glowing red eyes walking onto you as your breath came fast and uneven. The illusion had already faded, but the lingering fear in your expression was something raw, something real. His claws twitched slightly, hesitation flicking across his monstrous features. He had wanted to teach lessons, wanted to make people feel the fear that he himself had endured, but this wasn't the satisfying kind of scare. This felt wrong. For a moment he stayed still, his form still looming in the shadows. Then slowly, almost cautiously, he took a step forward. No, 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 no. You better turn back into something else. You better not be a flipping bug still. Uh-uh. The ground beneath you was solid. No more creeping illusions threatening to swarm. The monster's Totodile, still covered in heavy reddish-purple fur, crouched down slightly, his sharp claws pressing lightly into the earth. His glowing red eyes studied you with an unreadable expression. The mischievous energy from before dimmed. Was he regretting what he did? Was he testing to see how you'd react? His tail flicked slightly, a subtle sign of unease. He wasn't good at comfort, but even he knew when a prank had gone too far. Would you push him away, call him out, or maybe see him for more than just the trickster he had become? What the frick? No, please. No more bugs. I've had enough. Let's see. Tail flinched slightly at your plea, not of fear but realization. His glowing red eyes studied you, the playful menace that had once burned in them now replaced with something conflicted. The trick had gone too far. He shifted on his clawed feet, his tiny form crouching lower as if trying to make himself seem less threatening. With a flick of his tail, the remaining wisp of illusion dissipated, leaving nothing but the cool night air and the steady thud of his own heartbeat. For a moment he simply watched you, his breathing slow, his posture tense. The prankster in him wanted to laugh it off, to chalk this up to another successful trick, but something deep inside him, the part of him that had once known fear, that had once been a victim of cruel jokes, refused to ignore what he had just done. At least he's not completely cruel on this one. One of the first practice runs I did with him, where I actually had to greet him as, him making roaches appear instead of doing the little test he does normally. In that run, he legit was laughing at my torture. He was laughing at the fact that I was scared half to death of bugs. He's actually feeling regretful for this, surprisingly this time. His claw twitched slightly. Then, in a low, raspy voice, almost unsure and almost apologetic, he muttered, "No more bugs." And with that, he took a slow step back, his eyes scanning your face for any hint of how you'd respond now that the nightmare had passed. Oh, sweet horses. Please, don't hurt me. I don't know where all of them bugs came from. Just please don't hurt me too. Terrell's glowing red eyes flickered with something almost unreadable. Hesitation, uncertainty, perhaps even the smallest hint of guilt. The fur bristling along his monstrous form sailed slightly, his breath slow and measured. He wasn't used to seeing fear like this, not the kind that reminded him of his own past, of the way he had once cried, ran, begged for the fear to stop. He had meant to test you, to judge whether you were another cruel prankster like the ones who tormented him, but your trembling voice, the way you shrank away, it wasn't like them. It was too familiar. His clawed feet scraped against the ground as he took another cautious step backward, creating space. He tilted his head slightly, studying you, not with malice anymore, but with something softer. His sharp claws flexed as if fighting the instinct to reach out, but he didn't. "I don't hurt the scared ones," he muttered, voice lower now, rough but not cruel. Then, after a long pause, the shadows around him shifted. His monstrous shape flickered, blurring at the edges until suddenly he wasn't a monstrous roach anymore. Oh, you now turn back into that? Instead of staying before you was Totodile, not a terrifying prankster, but something closer to his old self, still covered in reddish-purple fur, still a little taller than before, but the menacing glow in his eyes had dimmed. For this moment, at least, he wasn't trying to scare you anymore. Totodile? Where did you come from? And what was all those bugs doing around here? Oh boy. Tail's glowing red eyes flickered just slightly at your words. There was no laughter, no smug satisfaction, just a quiet, unreadable intensity in his stare as he took a slow breath. Tension in his posture eased, but the weariness remained. "I've always been here," he murmured, his voice raspy but more subdued now. His claw flexed slightly as if resisting some old instinct to hide or lash out. He turned his head slightly, looking off into the distance, still looking one ease. "The bugs weren't real." A pause, and then a quiet brutal, "Not like the ones they threw on me." "Oh, heck no." His red eyes lingered on yours for a moment, watching and searching. "Would you understand? Would you push him away like everyone else had?" This was a Totodile who had been changed, warped by fear, by cruelty. But was this version of him truly who he wanted to be? Somewhere deep inside he was waiting, hoping for a reaction that wasn't just fear. They weren't real? Question mark. Then where did they come from? I may should have done one of the other ones. I wish I had a better run with the flipping, or the second run with the ice noise run definitely went well, but it definitely could have went even better. Oh my. Taylor's red eyes flickered with quiet amusement. Not cruel this time, but curious. He tilted his head slightly, his sharp claws flexing against the ground. "From me," he admitted, his voice low but steady. "They were never here. I made them." His tail swished behind him as he watched her expression, gauging her reaction. It was the first time he had stated it so plainly. No tricks, no illusions clouding his words. "It's a gift, or a curse. I haven't decided." His voice carried a mix of pride and weariness. "I see fears. I can shape them." His claws curled slightly, as if recalling the moment he first discovered the ability in the cave, when his body had been twisted into something new, something meant to protect him, or to punish others. His eyes held yours for a long moment, waiting, wondering if he'd recoil, if he'd run, if he'd treat him like a monster. Would you fear him now that you knew the truth? You said something about not like the ones they threw on me. What did you mean by that? And what happened to you? You don't look completely like yourself. Oh, heck no. Tails' red eyes flickered slightly, not in malice, but in something deeper. A memory and a wound. He exhaled a slow, controlled breath, claws flexing against the ground before he spoke. His voice lowered now, tinged with something raw. "They threw real ones on me." "Oh, heck no." His tail twitched, the fur along his back bristling slightly at the thought. "Spiders. My worst fear." His words carried the weight of something unforgettable. Not a passing moment, but a scar carved deep into his past. "I cried. I ran. I begged them to stop. And they laughed." His gaze drifted slightly, unfocused, lost in the memory of that day. of the way his heart had pounded, the way his legs had carried him further than he had ever run before. I didn't stop until I found a cave. His claws scraped lightly against the earth, the faintest tremor running through his fingers as he recalled it. The energy inside that cave, the way his fear had twisted into something new, something stronger. I was different when I woke up, he admitted, his eyes locking on ears. Bigger, fur, stronger. A pause, then softer, unrecognizable. His tail curled slightly, his breath steady. I didn't want to be scared anymore. I wanted to make them feel what I felt. He studied you now, searching, waiting to see if you would see him as just another monster. Why would I do that? I'm sorry that happened to you. But why did you make all those bugs up here? I hate those things. And they were everywhere. And there was also this giant one. Tail's glowing red eyes flickered at your words, not with malice, but with something unreadable. He listened. He actually listened. His clawed hands twitched slightly, his tail flicking behind him in a slow, restless motion. I wanted to know. His voice was low and steady. If you were like them. He exhaled softly, his posture shifting, but still keeping his distance. I can feel fear, sense it, shape it. His red eyes scanned your expression, watching closely. It's how I test people. He flexed his claws slightly, recalling the way he had worked himself into a giant roach, the way he had to let illusions crawl toward you like living nightmares. It was instinct now, to strike first, to make others feel small before they could do the same to him. But you weren't laughing. You weren't cruel. His voice held an odd mix of thoughtfulness and tension. You were just scared. His tail curled slightly, hesitating. I don't usually stop. I paused, then quieter. But I stopped for you. Thank gosh. He tilted his head slightly, waiting. Would you see this as an apology, a warning, or something in between? Thank you for doing that. But why did you stop? I said, but. No. I said, B-U-T. Thank you. And why do you keep putting to? That's really hissing me off. Was there a reason you decided to stop instead of keep going? Until I eventually just ran off? I like how CoPilot does it. It's just I think it really depends on how it does it. Because this is actually one of them where I can actually technically use the divine power to do certain things. But Tail shifted slightly, his claws pressing lightly into the ground. His tail flicked once, a lingering habit of unease, as his glowing red eye studied you. not with malice this time, but with something closer to contemplation. "I've seen fear." His voice was quieter now, rough but steady. "I knew what it looks like when someone deserves it, and I know what it looks like when they don't." He hesitated as if choosing his words carefully. "They laughed at me when I cried, when I ran. They wanted me to break." His gaze sharpened slightly, his breath slow. "But you didn't look like them." His cough wet slightly. "I can tell the difference. I felt it." He inhaled slowly, his massive frame shifting as if carrying the weight of his own memories. "I'll stop for just anyone, but I stopped for you." His eyes flickered with something almost unreadable, something human, something wounded but still watching. "I'm glad you did. But please, I beg you." "I don't want to see any more bugs. So please don't." There. Tail stiffened slightly at your plea, his eyes searching yours for something. Fear, trust, something in between. His claws flexed once, almost instinctively, before he took a slow breath. "No more bugs." The words came out steady and final. "I promise." He doesn't summon illusions this time. He didn't test your fear further. Instead, he tilted his head slightly, watching and waiting. This was new for him, choosing to stop and choosing to listen. "You're not like them," he murmured after a long pause, almost as if saying it to himself, self-with once, uneasy. "So, I stopped." There was no trick in his voice, no lingering malice, just something raw, hesitant, and learning. "You're not going to hurt me, are you?" "Please, I don't want to be hurt." Tail's red eyes flickered, not with anger, not with malice, but with something softer, something uncertain. His claw twitched slightly, his tail shifting between him in slow, uneasy movements. He had spent so long becoming something feared, something that could strike first before anyone could strike him. But hearing you say those words, not demanding, not accusing, just pleading, made something inside him hesitate. For a long moment he said nothing. Then, at last, his breath came slow and steady. His posture softened slightly, and his gaze losing some of its sharp edge. "I don't hurt the scared ones." His voice was quieter now, rough but lacking cruelty. His massive form, still covered in that reddish-purple fur, seemed less imposing as he took a slow, deliberate step backward, giving space, offering something that resembled reassurance. "I won't hurt you. No tricks, no illusions, just words. a promise he had never thought he'd give, but he had seen fear, felt fear, lived fear, and you weren't his enemy. He studied your expression, watching and waiting. Would you trust him? No! 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 Thank you. Period. Can you give me a little more detail about what happened to you? I've never seen that not only looks like that, but also can just make illusions. Oh my. Toad's glowing red eyes flickered at your question, lingering on you for a long, thoughtful moment. His claw flexed slightly as if turning the words over in his mind before answering. You wouldn't have seen one like me, he murmured, his voice low and rough. I wasn't like this before. I was. He hesitated, not because he didn't know what to say, but because the memory still carried weight. His tail flickered once behind him, restless. I was small. I was scared. I was normal. His red eyes narrowed slightly as he recalled it, the way his past self trembled, the way he always feared what others might do next. And I was too easy to torment. His claws scraped lightly against the ground. They threw my worst fear on me. Real ones. Crawling, creeping, laughing as I screamed. He exhaled slowly, his posture rigid. I ran. I ran until my legs burned, until I couldn't hear them anymore. He glanced away, eyes darkening slightly. I found a cave. It was... He paused, searching for the right word. Wrong. The air felt strange. The shadows didn't move like they should have. His breath came slow and measured. I slept there, and when I woke up, he gestured to himself, his massive fur-covered form, his red glowing eyes. I wasn't the same. He pauses. It changed me. His voice was quieter now, raspier. Made me see things, feel things, shape things. His claws flexed, recalling the first time he had twisted an illusion into being. First time he had made someone feel fear instead of just experiencing it himself. I stopped being prey. His red eyes locked on yours. I became something else. He wasn't asking for pity. He wasn't begging for understanding. He was simply stating what he had become. Would you question it further to understand him more? No. Wow. That's insane. Period. What happened after this happened and you left the cave? What did you do? Holy crap. Let's see. Tail's glowing red eyes flickered at your question, his claws curling slightly as if grasping at the weight of his own memories. I was different. His voice was quieter now, rough but steady. I didn't know what I had become. Didn't know if I was even still me. His breath came slow and measured as he recalled the moment he first stepped out of that cave. his fur bristling in the sunlight, his limbs heavier than before. His tail no longer flickered with nervous energy, but carried a new weight, one born not of fear, but of something darker. I tried to go back. His sharp claws pressed lightly into the ground. Back to where I lived, where I knew people. I paused. They stared. His red eyes narrowed slightly, remembering the way those first gasps had sounded, the way their expressions twisted in shock, fear, disgust. Recognition? No, never recognition. It wasn't the same timid Totodile they had mocked. It was something else now. They didn't see me. They saw a monster. His tail curled tighter, his voice laced with an odd mixture of bitterness and understanding. I didn't even get the chance to speak. His claws wet slightly at the memory, the realization that he wasn't just feared now, but hated, that no one wanted to know why he had changed, only that he wasn't who they remembered. So I left. His voice hardened slightly, but beneath it was something raw, something wounded. I kept to the shadows. I watched, and when I had the chance, as I was going, I tested them, tested their fears like they had done to me. His tail flickered once, his gaze steady, waiting and watching your reaction. Rickle, would you call him cruel? Who else did you try testing? Question mark. Was there somebody else, maybe even multiple people that you tested to see how they would react to their own fears? Stop! Oh no! I was doing it again. Here we go. Stop being dumb. There. Oh my gosh. Finally. Everything's been messing up. Fear messed up earlier. Now this thing's trying to do it again. It's like, oh, don't start. That's not how you spell fear. Our testing. Was there somebody else, maybe even more people that you tested? There. Oh. Toe's red eyes gleamed slightly at your question, not with malice, but with something unreadable. He shifted his weight, his claws fletching against the earth as he exhaled slowly. Many. His voice was low, controlled, carrying the weight of experience. His tail swished behind him, the fur bristling slightly as he recalled the ones who had crossed his path, the ones who had stared at him with fear but not understanding. The first was the worst, he admitted. One of the ones who did it to me first, who laughed when they threw the spiders. His claws curled slightly, remembering the moment he had spied them alone, unaware of the creature in the shadows. I made them see what I saw. His red eyes flickered, recalling the illusion, the overwhelming, suffocating swarm of spiders crawling toward them, the way they screamed, ran, and felt just as he had. They begged, just like I had. His voice wasn't cold, just matter of fact. They ran. They didn't come back. A pause. Then, softer, others came after. People who looked at me like I was something to be feared. His tail curled slightly. I hadn't to wait for them to test me. I tested them first. His gaze lingered on you, watching, engaging your eyes. Some ran. His voice held an odd mix of amusement and something bitter. Some fought. Some laughed, though it was all a joke until they couldn't escape it. His claws flexed once before relaxing, and some, he hesitated, think water, some saw me, not just what I became, but who I was before. His glowing red eyes flicked with something uncertain, something haunted. There wasn't many of those. A long pause, then his gaze locked on yours again. What will you be? Okay, let's see. I see and understand you. I just wish you didn't use the bugs against me. I would have seen you if you would have just came out and would have talked to me instead of using my own fear against me. There you go. Toto's glowing red eyes flickered, his expression unreadable for a long moment. Then something shifted, not just in his posture, but in his energy. You would have seen me? His voice wasn't mocking, wasn't disbelieving, just quiet, processing. His claws flexed slightly as if grasping at something unfamiliar. His tail flipped behind him, the fur along his back rippling slightly. No one ever says that. A pause, then softer. They just run. He exhaled softly, his massive frame seeming less imposing, less weaponized than before. The prankster in him had always been. The prankster in him had always found satisfaction in fear, but now this was new. He hadn't expected this kind of response. I didn't know if you were like them, he admitted after a moment, so I tested you, like I do everyone else. His claws scraped lightly against the ground, but I don't get many who say they would have just talked. His red eyes lingered on you, searching something uncertain, flicking in them. He wasn't sure how to respond to this. Not immediately. Then, after a long, slow breath, his tail came quieter than before. Maybe I didn't have to. Uh, Air between you had something fragile, something tentative. Would you push further? Would you tell him again, make sure he understood? Or would you think as it was? And his evolutions are literally my favorite Pokemon. Exclamation point. You could have just came out of the bushes looking like a normal, and you would have gotten so much love. Possibly even a bunch of pettings. There. Toto's red eyes flickered, a quiet tension settling over him as he processed her words. You would have done that? His voice was rough, hesitant, not distrustful, just uncertain. His cough wet slightly, his tail twitching behind him as the idea unfolded in his mind. Had it ever been that simple? Could it have been? He exhaled, his massive arm shifting slightly as he glanced down at his own clawed hands, the heavy reddish-purple fur that now covered his body. I don't look like a normal Totodile anymore. His voice carried a faint edge. Not anger, not bitterness, just the truth. Would you have done that? Even now? It wasn't a test, wasn't a trick, just a genuine question from someone who had spent too long assuming fear was the only response he'd ever get. His red eyes lingered on you, watching and waiting, wondering if this was something he could actually believe. Yes, and I wouldn't have been scared of you. Period. It would have been way nicer if you would have used your illusion to make yourself look like a normal. Instead of scaring me with the bugs. And even if you did look like that, uh, oh no, like that, I would have been fine as long as you didn't try to hurt me. And you told me you were a. Stop! And could have even shown me proof that you really were one. Toad's red eyes flickered with something almost unreadable. Not disbelief, but hesitation. He listened, truly listened. His claws flexed slightly, his tail curling behind him in thought. You would have been fine? His voice was quieter now, carrying an edge of uncertainty. Not because he doubted you, but because the idea of someone seeing past what he had become was foreign. He glanced down at his own clawed hands, at the heavy reddish-purple fur that covered his form. This wasn't the Totodile people recognized. This wasn't the Pokemon they ever welcomed with kindness. And yet, here you were, telling him he didn't have to use fear, telling him he wouldn't have run if he had just shown himself. I never tried that, he admitted after a long pause, his voice rough but honest. I just assumed it wouldn't work. He exhaled completely, and slowly, considering what you had said. I could have changed how I looked. Could have made myself seem normal. His red eyes flicked slightly, looking onto yours. But I never thought anyone would still care. He studied you, watching and waiting, not for fear, but for proof. Proof that what you said was genuine. Proof that you wouldn't have recoiled, wouldn't have treated him like something twisted. Then after a long moment his body shimmered slightly, flicking at the edges. The illusion took form, and just like that, standing before you was a normal Totodile. Blue scales, no fur, no glowing eyes, just him as he had once been. Would you still care about me if I looked like this? He asked, his voice lower now, tentative, testing something entirely new. Of course. Of course I would. You're adorable! Exclamation point. I walk up to the and gently pet him. The illusion held firm as you stepped forward, your touch light and gentle against Totodile's scaled head. The energy in the air shifted. Gone was the tension, the weariness, the lingering darkness that usually surrounded him. For a moment he didn't move and didn't react. His red eyes, now appearing normal in this form, blinked once, his clawed feet pressing lightly against the ground as if testing whether this was real. Then slowly, hesitantly, his tail twitched, a small uncertain movement, almost instinctive, like he would want to wag it but didn't quite remember how. Do you really think I'm adorable? His voice wasn't mocking, wasn't testing, just quiet, like he had never heard the words before, or at least never truly believed them. He looked up at you, his gaze holding something new, not fear, not distrust, but genuine curiosity. I never thought anyone would say that to me again. Oh my gosh. The illusion shimmered slightly as if his control wavered for just a second, but he held on to it, watching and waiting. Would you continue? Would you prove that you trust me? Or would this moment be too fragile to last? Excuse me? Did this thing just act like I was going to doubt him? I'm not going. I am. For one, even if I didn't like Totodile, think about it this way. He could make some of my biggest fears appear. Oh, he could have a flipping bug the size of Godzilla appear, and that would be horrifying. To a point where I'd rather get tortured with a bunch of them just crawling around me. Or having Rexy turn into a massive dragon and threaten to eat me. That seems less scary than seeing a massive bug. I think dragons are kind of cute. I can see you should pet the Pokemon. Continue to pet the Pokemon. I think you're adorable like this. You're so cute. Illusion held firm, but his reaction was something entirely new. At first, he tensed like under your touch, his sharp claws twitching as if waiting for something to be mocked, to be rejected, to be told this was all a joke. But when that didn't come, when your hand stayed gentle and sincere, his posture slowly eased. His tail gave a small, hesitant wag. Cute, huh? His voice was quieter now, carrying none of the harsh edge it had before. Nobody's called me that in a long time. He glanced down at himself, at the illusion, the familiar blue scales, the normal size, the absence of fur, of glowing red eyes, of a presence meant to scare. This was a version of himself he hadn't worn in ages. Feels weird. His claws flexed slightly, not in tension but in thought. Not bad, just a pause, then softer, different. He let the moment linger, taking in your kindness, your sincerity, as if trying to determine if it was real. You really don't mind it I'm still me? His gaze held something fragile, something hopeful. Would you continue to reassure him, or would you let the moment speak for itself? No, I don't mind. You would have gotten me to like you quicker if you would have done it this way. Instead of being terrified of you and the fear of all them bugs. Mm-mm-mm. Tails' glowing red eyes, now hidden behind the illusion of his former self, flickered slightly at your words. He stood still for a moment, processing them. Quicker, huh? His voice was quieter now, almost thoughtful. Guess I never thought about that. His tail gave another small twitch, not in unease, but in something closer to acceptance. Slowly and carefully he shifted his weight, watching ever so slightly under your touch. Fear's always been the first thing people notice, he exhaled, the edge in his voice softer than before. Didn't think it could be any different. A pause. Then with a flicker of curiosity he tilted his head slightly. You really don't mind how I look? There was no lingering trick, no hidden malice, just a genuine question from a Pokemon who had spent far too long assuming that fear was the only way to be acknowledged. No. I'm fine with you. Period. You're not trying to attack me. And you're now being very friendly instead of aggressive or mean. So of course I accept you. Alright guys, I'll see you in a second.